Incompetence in leadership in Nigeria makes one wonder if we are inhabited by greater forces than we see, a country of palliative. One cannot run away from the fact that the current triple-digit suffering in Nigeria started with the President Tinubu's decision to yank off subsidy on petroleum product on the day of his inauguration and the immediate floating of the naira. Two good, fantastic government policies that were ill-planned and ill-executed. That's not to mean that now today's suffering just started. We have always been suffering. But this one is a multiple. Even though there are other various contributory factors, one would have expected that a government that is removing subsidy on petroleum product that is beneficial to the generality of our populace would also immediately remove subsidies on the bogus, ostentatious, and humongous allowances cum lifestyle of political office holders. Instead, they waited until they were criticized for going to a meaningless conference in Dubai with 1,411 delegates before taking steps to slash the number of aides that travels with the president and other top government officials and their escort by 60% at any time. Good policy, you will say. As good as that move is, it amounted to a drop in the ocean compared to the bogus number of ministers. Some of them self, we don't know whether they still exist or they do anything at all. Imagine as important as the Minister of Sport is, it was until we carried last for the just concluded Olympics that we didn't even know that that Minister of Sport still exists. The Minister of Information self had to wait for protest before he began jump from one media house to another media house to talk to us, despite massive number of jobless youth in the country. My friend, the Minister of Youth, has not been able to show face since the inception of this administration. Not to talk of rolling out a plan for engaging the youth and so many others you can think of. Just add your own. How about the large number of presidential convoy, the presidential yacht, and the number of foreign trips? National Assembly members, they say they won't cut salaries, their allowances by 50%, but only for the month to end, they collect full salary. That assembly serve now full, comedy skit. That one a gist for another day. Even though the government is recently pointing accusing fingers at the state emperors, the governors, who they claim to have been given so much money and bags of rice and in some cases, beans here and grains as palliative, and has promised to even donate and convert buses to CNG to ease cost of transportation. I want to ask, what is the current value of that so much money that have been shared? Remember in 2009 here, just a few years ago, 1.5 million used to buy $10,000. Today, you will need 1.6 plus million to at least buy $1,000. Yet we are talking about more naira in the pocket. It is like more naira, more problem. This is not to exonerate our lazy state governors from the crisis, because all of them, if not some of them, all of them, just what they do is just tie a little road here and there and share the remaining allocation. But I don't get their time today. Their own time will come. I also want to ask the so-called CNG buses, which road they won't pass? Where the road they? Now, make we even enter classroom. So what is palliative and what is subsidy? Palliative is something you give as a relief to a sick person. Sick person, without dealing with the root cause of the problem. While subsidy is a sum of money given by the state or a public body to help an industry or businesses keep the prices of commodity low. Which means if you deal with the root cause of the crisis of food shortage, hunger, insecurity, corruption, and lack of good governance, you don't need to share palliative to the people as though we're in a war-torn country and they share food for sick, hungry, and lazy people. So we agree that palliative must go. We agree that subsidy should go. What is the government doing to address the root cause of the problem in the land? Apart from sharing palliative to states where governors have go hide and in some cases hoard and shamelessly rebag to play politics with, just like it's been alleged in Edo State. What is the government doing to address insecurity in the land, to ensure farmers return to their various farms, to ensure food sufficiency and food security? With these questions are necessary. What is the government doing to address local industry and agro-processing companies that will in turn create jobs and strengthen the naira? What is the government doing to stimulate and encourage investors' confidence in our economy? What is our government's blueprint on eradicating corruption in public, private, and religious institutions? I guess I might just be asking too much questions. After all, somebody will tell me, give the government time that they share palliative. They didn't start the problem. But must every government in Nigeria be turned into a palliative sharing government? Does that mean we are all sick as a nation? Don't we as Nigeria deserve more than just a few cups of rice from our government, what is the business of the federal government sharing palliative? Are we doomed not to have effective local government administration? Well, the federal government is pointing us to how much money they have shared to state governors so far. Must we always have a lazy state government and sharing formula as if they are a group of armed robbers when they share loot? Can the local government generate and pay taxes to the state and the state in turn to the federal? After all problems are local, and the best solution to address those problems should be locally. I agree say no be only this government caused the current problem. But if to say President Tinubu and other plenty people for APC today allow former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, Azikiwe, remember some people could even gather and say 9 billion. If they had allowed him to remove subsidy, in his time as president, while they were in opposition, we probably would not have been having this palliative recipient people like sick people today now. That's probability though, because Jonathan in government self, we are not any better. Even though this one and Buhari are now worse, the sure shaggy. So I will therefore advocate, why it is agreed that subsidy on petroleum product must go, the government must understand that with the current insecurity, lack of available infrastructure to stimulate and encourage manufacturing, cost of living certainly will be high. And with high cost of living comes hunger and anger. You cannot tell the people to bear hunger that your policy will be beneficial in the long run when you continue to maintain a large retinue of ministers and aides who also have aides and assistants, while you are neck deep in borrowing and servicing debt with about 85% of our revenue. It's not possible, work. Even countries with healthy economic and better GDP are cutting down cost of governance to provide better services. And as a short-term measures, then reduce the number of ministers, reduce the foreign trip, and reduce the cost of maintaining the National Assembly, like all those prayer alert and the constituency project allowance to members. And the gain can then be directed at improving power generation, fighting insecurity, creating local cottage industries like agro and food processing businesses that will in turn create jobs. Finally, decentralize revenue generation from the federal government and make it solely a local government responsibility, and let the local government pay taxes to the states and the states pay taxes to the federal. That way, it will succeed in removing a lot of people from Abuja to their various local government for competitive development. Anyway, we can go on and on and on. Time no dey let us here as always. But please feel free to join your voice with ours across the various social media platforms shown on your screen. Please also like and share. Reducing unnecessary expenditures, putting visible cost-costing measures in place, sound fiscal management and discipline will contribute to a sustainable debt profile, enhance investors' confidence, and attract foreign investment to support economic growth instead of sharing more money and palliative that never gets to those that is meant for. See you next week.